out at the range here, and we have 500 rounds ready to go, and we're gonna be putting it through the brand new Alpha Foxtrot 1911-S15. Looking at the gun quick, this is a 1911 or 2011 platform. It takes 9mm, and the cool thing about this gun is it actually does take Glock mags. Not the plastic Glock mags though. These take the shield arms. You can see here we have the S15 mags, and then these are the S15 with a +5 base plate. So for all my Glock 43X people out there, you're probably running these already. So these will go right into this gun and work perfectly. First impressions of this gun, it feels and looks very comparable to like a Staccato C2 or whatever their smallest version is nowadays for conceal carry. We do have an optic cut slide here, and this is a Holosun 407K. And also we have a rail on the front here, so we're actually gonna be running a flashlight on this. And then when you put the extended mag in, I mean, this actually looks like a pretty sweet setup. This setup isn't ideal for conceal carry because that's a lot of stuff on it. So we'll be running the gun in this setup here, as well as, you know, kind of breaking it down and running it as more of a conceal carry type setup as well. Now, this is not a Glock and it's not a SIG, so I do like to lube these up right from the factory. We have some liquid drip here. I already applied it pretty heavily on here for a 1911 or 2011 platform. So we're all lubed up, we're good to go. Let's get some mags loaded up and let's begin the test. All right, so first rounds through the gun. Let's see what we got here. First mag down, slide lock back. Seems good to go. Let's just get that red dot zeroed in and keep going. All right, so good enough for zeroing, at least in my books. We got a good grouping here, so we're good with the red dot. So now let's get to the fun part and just start mag dumping, doing some build drills, and get 500 rounds through this gun. Full disclosure here, Alpha Foxtrot did send this gun out for testing and review. I connected with them out at SHOT Show. Awesome group of guys, and they also sent me this cool little t-shirt, so we're wearing that today. But that being said, we're gonna be unbiased here. 500 rounds is 500 rounds through a gun, so let's see how it holds up. Wants to go fast. All right, so after our first 100 rounds here, things to note here, obviously the gun did get hot because it's a small little guy, but I did see that these screws for the optic are starting to walk out here, indicated by my little paint marker there. So we're gonna try and tighten these guys back to where they were. And I always round these out. So the screws that came with it here is a Allen wrench, and I always hate using Allen wrench or Allen wrench screws on optics because they're just so tiny and small. They always get rounded. I think it should be a standard that all optics should use for their screws, this little star pattern here, because these are way better and they have a less likely chance of getting rounded out. But either way, we'll keep an eye on that and see what happens as we keep going. All right, let me make a fool out of myself. Let's try to air rack this thing. So, not quite yet. Maybe once we get some more rounds through this and get it broken in, then we can maybe air rack it. Ooh, I don't know. So I was on the last round of the shield arms extended mag here, and I thought the slide locked back like it was empty, but looks like we had this casing get stuck there. So coincidentally on the last round, so technically I guess it's a malfunction, but easy to clear. Let's get the next mag in and see what happens now. So after about another 50 rounds, I can already see that these screws are just walking out again. So I'm gonna do us all a favor before this optic flies off and hits me on camera. We're just gonna remove this Holosun for now and go to iron sights. This did come with a optic cover here, but I didn't bring it to the range because I thought we'd be using this the whole time. So this is gonna look a little bit goofy for the rest of this test, but we got our rear and front irons, so we're good to go. Best part about infinity targets, you just spray paint them and we're good to go. So now that we have the optic off and we're running irons, I decided to remove the flashlight because this might be what a lot of people would actually carry this gun as, just bare bones with the 15 round mag flush in the gun, so it's nice and concealable. So let's do some drills and see how this works. So one thing I've been noticing doing draws with this gun is it's kind of hard to get your initial grip or purchase on the gun. Reason being is because it's a hammer fired gun. On a Glock or a SIG, what I like to do is normally get into the holster with my thumb over top like this, but we got this big beaver tail and the hammer in the way, so I can't really do that. So my initial grip is kind of loose like this, and then I gotta kind of go like that. So it's just a little bit difficult to do to get a quick draw on the gun. But don't get me wrong, once you get a good grip on this gun, it wants to go fast, like Ricky Bobby fast. All right, let's just dump all 20 rounds here. So we're about 300 rounds into this test. The gun's running flawlessly, but anytime we're playing with a 2011 or 1911 here, you gotta do the Sicario test. Adios. Man, I love 2011s. All right, let's get back to some normal stuff. We got about 200 more rounds to get through this thing. Fell in the hole. Oh. All right, so we got 150 rounds left here, but I was just looking at my hand and we are getting a nice little tear slash blister here, and that's because of the grip on this gun. This is very common on a lot of 1911 or 2011s, but you have this safety here, and you can see this is kind of a sharp piece here, and my grip, that eats right there on that spot there. So over time, this just gets eaten and we'll cut it, but this isn't pretty normal to do, put 500 rounds through a carry gun, but just a heads up there, you might get a little wear on your hand here. To fix this, I'm just gonna put some Scotch tape over this because I don't have any other tape here, but we'll make do with what we have. Look at that, certified medic, good to go. Oh, I hope that was recording. Air racked it. Just got to break the gun in. All right, time flies when you're having fun, but we are on our last 50 rounds, so our last 3 mags. Let's get them loaded up, see what happens. All right, last 3 mags. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is 500 rounds. As seen, I got all the boxes empty, all gone here. And let's get to the conclusion here. All right, so 500 rounds through the Alpha Foxtrot S15. How many malfunctions did we have? Well, you saw all the rounds there, so we kind of had one or maybe like a half malfunction. It was using the extended mag here, and it was on the last round of the mag, and I thought the slide locked back, but we did have a stovepipe with the casing in there. But to be honest, I would have reloaded, put the new mag in, racked the slide, and it would have probably cleared itself. So again, that's the only malfunction, so we'll count it as one or maybe maybe a half malfunction. Overall, I think that's pretty phenomenal for a 2011 or 1911 platform, especially a concealed carry gun. Number one thing with concealed carry is reliability, and I would definitely carry this given what we just saw today. So kudos to Alpha Foxtrot, reliability. Some of the downsides though, as seen here, we got the taped up thumb, which is kind of a given on the ergonomics of a 1911 or 2011. Again, I had the safety here eating into my thumb here as we got to about the 200 or 300 round mark. So just a heads up there, maybe if you have bigger hands, it won't be an issue. Another downside is our optic. The screws didn't stay tight, so we'll have to get some blue Loctite, try and reapply it and get that squared away. But the good thing though is our iron sights work just fine, and I was able to continue shooting with just the irons. Another big plus that I saw today was every single mag that we used here, all of these Shield Arms S15 mags, every single one of them locked the slide back on the last round. That's very uncommon to see for 2011s like Staccatos or even the Springfield Prodigy. There's a lot of times on the last round, it will not lock the slide back. So you think you got a round and then you get a click and then you got to reload. So pretty awesome that we saw the slide lock back every time with the Alpha Foxtrot S15. Shootability, it's a 2011. The grip is just fine on this. I do have smaller hands, so if you have a bigger hand, you might have a little bit of an issue with a pinky hang here, but I had no issues with it. You saw how fast I was running the gun, and 2011s are meant to be ran fast, and this thing can keep up. One last downside though that we had was for conceal carry, and that's if you have a holster for this, is getting a good purchase or grip on the gun when pulling it out of your holster. Since you have the hammer here, when you go to grip it, I always like to bring my thumb over this, but you have that beaver tail here, so it's kind of hard to do that. Versus a Glock or a SIG, you don't have any of this right here, so you can actually do this and then move your thumb over to get a better grip. So a lot of my draws, like you saw, were pretty slow because I would have to get a grip, kind of like this, bring it out, and then readjust my grip as I brought it up. But training with the gun and getting used to it, it's an easy thing you can work out and get adjusted to. Overall, I hope this was helpful. Final thoughts, Alpha Foxtrot S15 knocked it out of the park, and I would have no problem carrying this gun given its reliability we saw. One other cool thing about 2011s is the more you shoot them, the better that they get. With the higher tolerances and all the metal on it, the more rounds you put through it, the easier this gun cycles and the more reliable it gets. But also, that being said, you got to keep lubricating this gun as you shoot it. Since I put 500 rounds today, I'm going to take this apart, clean it, lubricate it back up, and I should be good to go. But it's definitely not a Glock where you can run it 2,000 rounds without putting a drop of lube on it. You definitely got to lube this guy up, and that's why we use the liquid drip at the beginning here. Let me know in the comments what you think of this gun, or in general carrying a 2011 as a concealed carry gun. Is it practical, or should you just carry a Glock? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if this was helpful, and we'll see you in the next video.